Hey y'all, welcome back to Sentro School. Today we'll be learning how to bind off with a crochet hook. This is a very simple bind off method that just uses slip stitches, so even if you don't know how to crochet, don't worry, it's super easy. You'll need a crochet hook for this, and you can kind of use whatever size you want, but I will say that it's almost always better to use a larger hook. This bind off doesn't provide much stretch, so to give it some extra stretch, we need to make our stitches fairly large, which is much easier to do with a larger hook. I like to use a 12mm hook, but if you're going to use a smaller hook, you'll just want to make your tension very loose. So let's get started. So here I have a little swatch and it has this waste yarn on the top of it. And if you don't know what waste yarn is, it's basically just yarn that you will remove once you've secured all of these final stitches on your main project. So we are actually going to be working along this row right here, and I find it really helpful to look at my project from this angle rather from this way, because it's much easier to tell where all of these final stitches are. It's a lot harder to accidentally skip one of these stitches and not secure them in some way if you're looking at it along this side. So grab your crochet hook and we are going to insert it into this very last stitch that we made on our project. We do not want to insert it on this other side here because there's no working yarn over here, so we don't have any yarn that we can grab to secure these stitches with. But this stitch over here has this working yarn still attached to it. So if you're not familiar with crocheting at all, I can show y'all how to hold your yarn. If you are familiar with crocheting, then you can skip ahead. But if you're not, then I will show y'all. So grab your working yarn with your two middle fingers, just like this, on your left hand, and then kind of pinch it between your ring finger and your pinky finger, and then twist your hand and have the yarn come over your pointer finger like this. Then you're gonna grab your project with your left hand and have your pointer finger still pointing out and up. That is how you're going to control your tension and how you're going to be able to, get the yarn to wrap it around your hook and all that. And then you're going to grab your hook with your right hand. So now we are ready to start crocheting, and we're going to yarn over our hook and then bring it through the loop on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over again and bring it through the loop on our hook again. Then you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch. See how it's so easy to tell since we're on this side of the project where the next stitch is. Insert your hook, and if you're using a really large hook like me, then you're gonna have to kind of force it in there just because these stitches are not made for a 12mm hook, but that's what's gonna give us these nice, large, stretchy slip stitches. Then you're gonna yarn over again, and you can also grab the yarn like this if that's easier for you, but I think for a beginner it's probably easier to wrap it around like this, but do whatever works for you. And then you're gonna bring it through that stitch, and then you're gonna bring it through that loop that was already on our hook. Now again, move into the next stitch, kind of force your way in there, grab the yarn, bring it through that stitch, and then bring it through that loop. And you're gonna just continue doing that all the way along this last row. Grab the yarn and then bring it through the loop. Force it in there, grab the yarn, bring it through the loop. And you want to make sure that you are not skipping over any stitches, because if you skip over a stitch and you don't secure it and then you remove your waste yarn, then that column is going to unravel, and we do not want that. And if you don't want your bind off to be very stretchy, then you don't have to use such a large hook, but I usually like to have my bind off be pretty stretchy, which is why I like using a larger hook, but it is not necessary to have a super stretchy bind off for every project. I just think it's pretty necessary for most projects. Okay, now we're almost to the end here. Okay, so now this one can be really hard to see, I feel like, so make sure you're not skipping this very last stitch here. Make sure that you are securing it. It also can be sort of difficult to get your hook into there, just because this final stitch is always so twisted up. But make sure you are not forgetting it, because it's going to come unraveled if you don't secure it. So there we have crocheted across the whole top of our project. And now to finish off, you can either chain one and then bring your yarn through, or you can just bring your yarn through. And then you just pull to tighten and it creates a little knot, or you can do that chain one and create your own little knot like that. Doesn't really matter, up to you. So then once we remove this waste yarn, then we will have a nice little edge on our project. And there we have it. I removed all of my waste yarn, and here is my bind off edge, and it looks pretty nice, I gotta say. And it is decently stretchy. And if I wanted it stretchier, I would have to make my stitches even larger. And if I wanted it not quite so stretchy, then I would make them smaller. So that's all for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, then be sure to leave a like. And if you enjoy Sentro content, then be sure to subscribe. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.